believes don't embrace social issues. Even Michael Jordan, the most
time to get buttery up.
No idea that we starting today. I think we should have everybody here one day. Free fall, no commercials.
That would be the day I take you.
You know what? That would be the day I take you. You deserve yet another day off. If you're a great orator, and you could memorize your statement, and fine. If you can't, you can't. I just need the facts. What did I say when you called me earlier this week? You had a problem. What did I say? Lower your expectations.
Lower my expectations.
That's all you got.
Listen, we're going to disagree with me. That's fine. We just have different philosophies. If somebody agrees with you, I got a tweet that said, let that man read his... I tweet. What?
Yeah, did you? The in full disclosure. Coming to you live via Skype, it's the In Full Disclosure Show. I am your host, Mo Morris. On my part, I'm Mr. Rasul Sharif. As always, the third man in our crew is our resident engineer, Mr. Steve Wills. Please check us out at zenapp.com. Search All Access 660 and you will find any and everything that you want to know about the In Full Disclosure Show. If you want to talk to my partner, you can always check him out on Instagram and on Twitter at Rasul Sharif 660. If you like the smooth grooves you're going to hear today, please always go check out our resident engineer, Mr. Breeze DBL, or at Breeze DBL on Instagram and on Twitter. Last but not least, if you want to talk to me, at MoMora660 on IG and on Twitter. Today, June the 4th, first weekend of June, we are starting the 6th month of the year already. How are you, my brother Breeze? Everything is good with you? Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. We're going to start today off on a somber note. For those of you who are just waking up and didn't see it last night, there was another terror attack last night in Europe. This time it was in London. London Bridge, and I'm sure you all remember London Bridge is falling down. That song growing up as a kid was attacked by a vehicle. It was either a van or a SUV driving over people. At the same time or shortly thereafter, allegedly the same three people who were a part of that attack went down to some market in London, not too far away, pulled out knives and started stabbing and slashing people in a restaurant or in this market. Total of 7 people have been killed at this point, and dozens others are supposedly injured. The 3 suspects that were allegedly a part of the attack, they wore fake suicide vests, and at this point they have been pronounced dead, all 3, and they have also already apprehended 12 other suspects who were not there, who are allegedly a part of this crime. So I start this off today with on a somber note to those people, and obviously, our prayers go out to those people, but it's something that we're probably going to have to deal with a little bit more ourselves at some point, because obviously this is happening often. This is the 3rd time in Europe over the last 3 months that it's happened. I think so far all of the assailants have been nationalists of Europe or whatever country in Europe that they have made their attack. So these homegrown terrorists are becoming a problem. And I think we've kind of had this conversation once before. What can you do for people who are here that decide that they want to do something on a smaller scale? When I say smaller, it's smaller than flying a plane, obviously, into the World Trade Center. But to me, it still kind of has the same kind of devastating effect. So, we're going to have to deal with this at some point, I think. And obviously, with the president that we have in office today, saying America first, it's probably just going to make it even worse. It's just going to perpetuate the situation. But it's definitely something that's starting to become more and more in my brain as I worry that day to day that we're going to start to have these same attacks happen here a lot more frequently. Thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, man, thoughts about victims over there. I mean, hopefully you're wrong, but you're probably right. But there are different levels of terror every single day. So you're probably right? Because if we in LA and there's a drive-by shooting and 9 people get killed, I mean it's a domestic terror issue. So you're probably right that it's going to happen, and it's been happening for a long time. It's highlighted more when it's people from other countries doing it to other people, but the senseless criminal acts against people, they technically terror incidents of some kind, whether it's domestic or foreign, whatever. So yeah, you're probably right. And I mean, with that phrasing from your president, it probably does throw some fuel on the fire. So we've got to be more aware, more conscious, and I think we got to be more patient, man. We all complain about going to the airport and having to wait longer and being in a train and wherever, where it becomes an inconvenience. But, we may need to be able to have to accept that inconvenience for our potential safety.
For sure. And, our president this morning, he wakes up and he tweets. I think he put out 3 different tweets, and I'm not sure what order they came in, but one, he mischaracterized what the leader of London said, or the mayor of London said, and said that the mayor said that this is not necessarily a big deal. And that's not what the mayor said. He also put out a tweet stating that you guys noticed that, these attacks were done with knives and not guns. So almost a pro-gun Second Amendment right tweet. He put that tweet out. Instead of him putting out his condolences, right? He does those sorts of things just off the top of his mind immediately. And to me, that's dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing.
People who are frustrated, they're frustrated because they understood this a year ago. When this was all happening, who this guy is, what he is. So it doesn't frustrate me. It's unfortunate.
Really?
I'm not frustrated because that's who he is. I mean, it's a very unfortunate thing, though. So I get it. I expect him to say something inappropriate. I expect it. Let's put it like that's the way I'm trying to explain. I expect it. So I'm not tripping when I see it. And I expect tomorrow morning. I expect to see something crazy. 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever he gets up, or rumors have it that he doesn't sleep much. So whenever something comes across his Twitter mind, I expect it to be crazy because it's him. It's not my normal expectation from a president of a free world like America, but these are the times we're in, and this is the guy that we have in charge. So that's what it is.
Yeah, he's not going to change, man. That's the unfortunate thing about it. It's he hasn't embraced any type of change. It's one thing trying to stay true to yourself and staying true to the rhetoric and the stuff that he's campaigning on, but it's almost to a point is people are getting desensitized over because it's happening, and the point that Sue made, even the stuff that happens in our communities. Just reading the Ledger this morning about and it's a great article with the teacher at Weequahic High who does a piece about all the children that have passed and were basically killed because of street violence. And he's been teaching for 20 years, and he's up to 46 children. 15, 16, good kids. But it's just really unfortunate. And I just got to say that I just think there's going to be anger and angst and animosity towards people and issues and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you got to be conscientious of what you say. because you can't. This whole thing of being, the First Amendment, no doubt about it. But because of the climate and the mentality of people nowadays, you really have to be conscientious of what you say, and that's the unfortunate thing about the president. It's one thing of pandering to your base, but there's a huge amount of other people out here that listen to everything you say, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. He could talk about trying to make America great and all these policies or whatever, but that's the number one thing. He's perpetuating a lot of this by this craziness that he's saying. So it's really unfortunate, but I agree. With both of you, man. We really have to be a lot more cognizant of our surroundings, and again, the way we treat people. You just really do, because it can be anybody.
Absolutely can. Obviously, we just had the other attack just basically 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, over in Manchester at the Ariana Grande concert. So they had already put in place for tonight, I think. They're having a major concert with Ariana Grande, Coldplay, Justin Bieber. It's a whole host of stars that are coming to do a benefit there tonight back in Manchester. And they are saying they're moving forward with it. They're expecting 50,000 people at this concert tonight. I know that they've already put out warnings telling people basically don't bring any bags, because every person is going to be inspected by hand, manually. Every person is going to be inspected. So it's not going to be a pass through something. It's going to be a stop, wait, and get completely frisked, I guess the same way they do at airports, whatever. But, life has to continue to go on. These people are out having dinner. People are walking across the bridge. People are out having dinner. And the guy comes into the restaurant, start cutting people up. I mean, it's a sad situation, that we're in. So definitely I'll thoughts and prayers out to the people of London, and just pray that it doesn't happen over here, even though I am worried about it. Continuing on with our president, this week he decides to jump out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So now the U.S., along with Nicaragua and Syria, you imagine. And Nicaragua, the only reason they're not in the Paris Agreement already is because they said it was not stringent enough. They felt that the rules were too loose. So it wasn't because they don't agree. They just think that the rules are not tight enough. So we're basically have the distinction of being standing next to Syria, who's basically saying, yeah, this climate stuff is a hoax. So he jumps out of the agreement. The spin is he's going to create his own agreement. But the problem is the other leaders who are already a part of that agreement saying, yeah, you can't create another agreement because we're not going to agree with you on it. On top of that, he can't get out of the agreement for a year, apparently. The rules are he has to stay for at least a year. The U.S. does anyway. So it's just a big mess. I don't know if you guys followed that at all this week.
The Confefe Agreement.
The Confefe Agreement, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. He's, clearly trying to reverse any and everything Obama did. So it doesn't matter. If Obama found a way to give people free chicken, he'd take it away.
Okay.
And it's a legacy buster kind of thing. It's crazy, right? So it seems by reports that we're becoming a isolated country. You're starting to find some of our dearest allies for years, starting to have issues with. Like, we're having issues with people that you just shouldn't be having issues with. There's enough going on in the world, and your people who with you, like, it would almost be like we got problems. Just for a lack of a better example, it would almost be like we had an issue with Bermuda or something. Like, hey, you wouldn't be threatened by him, but it's just unnecessary stress, unnecessary tension, because there are a whole lot of things that other countries are threatening. I think that the mistake that I don't even know if it's a mistake yet, but I think that the possible mistake that he makes is that there are no ramifications for his decisions, right? So we're just big bad America. We do what we want, but we start hearing, other things that other countries might try to do to us because we're doing the things that we're doing. So they're talking about tariffs. They're talking about all kinds of stuff, which may affect the regular everyday person. So his actions and consequences, his actions and everything have potential consequences. And back to what you guys were talking about before, he has to realize that he's not just talking as a private citizen anymore. He's talking as a representative of us in the United States. So his words really do matter.
Absolutely, they do matter. He literally, as Bree said earlier, is trying to isolate us away from everybody else and just let us deal with ourselves. But the world doesn't work that way. And we'll end up being North Korea, and we see where North Korea is at this particular point, right? They're not in the best space in this world. So you can't want to go in that direction. The other thing that's going to be happening for him this week, James Comey, the fired former FBI director, is going to come out and speak this week openly to the public at this hearing, and he's going to tell what President Trump said to him. Now, they already have started to try to tear down James Comey already. Kellyanne Conway was out already kind of saying negative things about him, trying to discredit his credibility. The president himself has come out and said, I just want him to come out and tell the truth. So they're already setting the narrative up that when he comes out and says what he says, that they can say that he's lying. So I don't know if these things are impeachable. Well, let me say it this way. They may end up being impeachable, but I don't know if there is any type of criminal aspect behind them. I have a feeling that they're not going to be criminal, but they're going to be impeachable offenses once this whole thing starts to fall. So we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, his reputation as someone who tells the truth isn't up for debate by most people. So his reputation for some decisions that he makes is debatable. But not a lot of people will run around saying, hey, this guy's a liar. So his credibility going into this is high. So it'll be hard to refute that. If he comes out and says something that's different from what the president claims happened.
Right. And I already see the narrative from the Republicans. Well, how come he didn't come out and say something while it was happening? I already see that's going to be the narrative, and that's the only narrative they're going to be able to give. So all these talking heads that I watch on TV every night, I guarantee you they're going to continue to run with that. And then they're going to also start to try to discredit Comey for other things that he's done as well. So I already see how it's going to play itself out.
But the other thing, fellas, is that they're going to stand on this unmasking thing, which is totally absurd. It doesn't have anything to do with anything, because at the end of the day, if a citizen is involved in this craziness, then yeah, they should be unmasked to find out who they are. But again, it's a diversionary tactic to get everybody's attention off of the reality of everything. So we'll see.
I know we're up against a break, but Chairman Nunes decides to go out and put out 3 subpoenas that he's not supposed to do because he's completely removed himself from this investigation. So, and it's about the unmasking. So
we'll see.
You're not checking out the show. We gotta get them to check out the show. That's the problem. They need loving their life.
All right, coming up next, we got some more controversy, right?
We're gonna talk Whitlock, and I don't know if you guys saw Bill Maher, but we got to get into that too.
I saw a taste of that. I'm trying to formulate this in my mind, so you might have to run with this segment. I'm trying to formulate this. We'll figure it all out. Decipher it. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
across the street. Beat Street is lesson 2 because you can't let the streets beat you. Can express 1,000 words to describe all the beauty of life you get. And if the world was yours to do over, I know you'd pick a better place to live, where the colors would swirl and the boys and girls can grow in peace and harmony, and where murals stand on walls so great as far as the eye are able to see. I never knew art till I saw your face, and there'll never be one to take your place, cause each and every time you touch a spray paint can, Michelangelo's soul controls your hand, then serenades of blue and red, and the beauty of the rainbow fills your head. Crescendo colors playing tune, man, why oh why you have to die so soon? Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, where the good die young is all by us, cause that life must live, death must die, and the tears shall fall from the living eye. The teardrops fall for the state of mind of the beautiful lady that you left behind, in love and alone, but now you're dead, and she still can't get you out of her head. More tears fall for all you've done, trying to be a good father to your only son, but now who's gonna make sure that he's fed? Put a shirt on his back and a roof overhead. Tell me who's gonna achieve the impossible dream of the beautiful cities and the islands' dreams when your works of art brought into being all that the ghetto stopped you from seeing. Homes on the sidewalk, garbage in the street, abandoned buildings, bricks and concrete. The ladies on the corner are selling that body, and everybody wants a part in that party. I'm hanging out tough, rocking late at night, running wild in the town of the neon light. To either play some ball or stand in the hall, you gotta make something out of nothing at all. I'm sitting in the classroom learning the rules, and it says you can't do graffiti in school. They can't be wrong in the hollowed hall, so my notebook turned into a brick wall. The heart of a lion and the courage of three, in the mind of a man who's wiser than me. You're the soul of the brother who won't come back, who died in my arms on the railroad track. Cause I'm caught in the rat race, looking for my own space. It gotta be a better place for you and me. There's pie in the sky and eye for eye. Some people gotta die just to be free. For justice, what you find? You find just us on the unemployment line. You find just us sweating from dawn to dusk. There's no justice, it's her death up.
22 minutes after I'm back to your full disclosure show. Breeze, question for you. Are we having a fully disclosed mix today?
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right. Please stay tuned from 12 to 1 and Mr. Breeze DVL puts down the latest hip-hop, R&B, and club.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Nah, no doubt. We going in today.
All right, we're going to have a fully disclosed, so please stay tuned. I have a feeling it's going to be something special.
You're learning, Mo. You're learning.
Yes, you put me on notice last week. And I have a statement for you, too. We got our Marvin Hagler look going on today. I'm just saying, no, it didn't go unnoticed that the bald head was there and the big bushy beard. So we channeling our inner Marvin Hagler today? Is that what we're doing?
All right, so I'm going to tell you what happened. So it's not really bald. It's Caesar-esque, but...
What is it, a 0 or a 1?
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's in there. So, of course, you know, the Rasul barbershop saga continues, right?
Wow.
Went to the barbershop, barber wasn't there, another barber was in there. So I was like, man, he cut me up decent, right? But then as I looked at it, I said, this ain't what I was going for. So then you got to crack open the closet and just say, you put this thing on even and go around, it'll be all right. So I had to cut it off, man. I said, we'll start over. My hair grows fast, so I'll be back in a week. But
You're looking like Isaac Hayes over there, man, when he was on the 18.
hey, that's what I'm talking about. And his beard's only got another month, so.
Really?
Probably the end of July, probably.
Okay. All right. Listen, I got a good barber for you here in the city. I got a good barber, man.
Man, you pay Social Security number to get your hair cut, bro. I can't handle that.
That's true. that is true. All right, let's get back into some sports. You want to deal with the Bill Maher issue first or Jason Whitlock?
Yeah, you can get the Bill Maher thing out the way.
All right, so the Bill Maher thing is not necessarily a sports topic, but I felt we needed to kind of have a discussion about it. And, you know, Breeze, I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not, or heard about it, but Bill Maher, popular host from HBO, he has a show called Real Time with Bill Maher. I'm actually a fan of the show. He's been on HBO for quite a while. I think 16 years, I think is what it said now. But anyway, he had Republican Senator Bill Sass from Nebraska on the show on Friday night. And, you know, they were going back and forth or whatever. It's very much a banter type show, but it's actually a serious political type show as well. They talk about all types of issues. But anyway, at one point, the senator said, yeah, we got to get you to Nebraska. And, you know, Bill Maher was like, yeah, I've never really spent any time in Nebraska, you know, blah, blah, blah. He was like, the senator goes, yeah, we'll get you out in the fields. So Bill Maher goes, the fields? and literally, like, looked at him like, the fields? And the senator was like, yeah, we'll get you out in the fields. And Bill Maher goes, I'm a house in. Or I'm a house nigga. I'm just going to go ahead and say it this one time. And the audience kind of groaned. Some people laughed. And when he heard the audience groan, Bill Maher immediately, because he's trained, he's a comedian at heart, was like, oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. The senator sat there and he was stunned. I think his face started to get flush.
As he should have been.
As he should have been. And he had no words on how to respond to that. Now, obviously, Bill Maher is a white man in America. I do not believe that Bill Maher is racist. So let me get that part out of the way. I do not believe that he is. I think he is an atheist. I think he does not believe in religion, or he has very little respect for religion, but I do not believe that he's racist. However, it does not give him the call or the card or the cachet to be able to come out and make that statement. And he's probably been wanting to make that statement most of his life because it came out fairly easily. Came out fairly easily. And let me say it this way. He's been wanting to make that statement. He's been wanting to say that statement publicly. I'm sure he said it before privately in conversation with whomever it is that he's comfortable with. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But he said it publicly on television, and he's been wanting to do it, and the opportunity came for him. He was able to say it. And for me, he said it almost like it was a fashion or a cool thing to say.
It was second nature. It sounded second nature the way it came out.
Correct.
But
thoughts?
So I'm struggling with this, right? I absolutely shouldn't have said it. And I'm with you. I don't think that he's a racist. As everybody who knows me knows, I'm a big context guy. So I'm trying to decipher the context. So, you know, the context, the genre, who's saying it, you know, we'd have to take a look and ask ourselves the question: how far in a comedic world, how far could somebody go in comedy? That would, do you look at it differently from a comedian than you do from, if you just reverse the situation from those two guys, the politician said it or the comedian says it, do you view that differently? That's what I'm struggling with right now. So if a guy comically is saying some stuff that's off base, to me it's a little different than if just Joe Schmo says it. You know, if somebody says it in their skit, then, like if this was said on Saturday Night Live or some cable, I don't know what a cable comedy show is or something, like, is there some line that nobody could cross?
Yes.
And where is that line? I'm struggling with it. I am struggling. I'm being honest. I'm struggling with it, and I wouldn't be. This would be an easy fix for me if I thought that the dude was racist. But I'm with you. Like, I don't think that he is. So I don't know if it's something said in poor taste, then if it's something said malicious. Now, I'm leaning towards the poor taste side. So I'm not agreeing with it. I do believe that it was said in poor taste, and he probably shouldn't have said it. And then it triggered my thought process to ask, you know, where is the line that is okay? You know, like, and I'll take it in a outside of a racist sphere here, and you know, it's taboo for a dude to call a male to call a woman the B word. Most times, right? Oh, dudes, we all know dudes who have said it in guy situations all the time. Good guys, and Some people say it in its most derogatory sense. Some people say it as wrong as it is, where how they think it's affectionately, right? Yo, it was a whole bunch of bees at the beach today.
Correct.
I don't know if they have malicious intent. It's very poor taste. We know that, but I don't know if they have malicious intent. So if a guy with now that same guy's on TV and he's doing a comedy skit and he says that, I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but is a woman as offended as a guy who just says, "Hey, you bee," to you, or if he says these bees on TV, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure it out. That's all. And I'm struggling with it. I'm being honest. I'm struggling with it.
Give me your answer right now. I think it comes down to, and I'm seeing it in the backlash that Bill Maher is getting. I think it comes down to where you fall day to day in your activism and being socially conscious, right? If you are a person that is involved with trying to push the narrative of being socially conscious every day, and that's part of who you are and part of what your work is, then that line can never be crossed. So it doesn't matter what the context is, right? So whether you are saying you're a house in or whether you're calling a woman a bee, it doesn't matter what the context is. You're not going to appreciate it. Whereas if you're someone who is not necessarily pushing the agenda of being socially conscious, however, you understand the importance of it and you are for it, but that's not what you do day to day, I think your tolerance level is a little bit different than that other person. And I'm going to bring it into a circle of Angela Rye. So Angela Rye, who was a CNN commentator, she was the executive director of Congressional Black Caucus at one point. She's been on Bill Maher's show countless times. She sent out 11 tweets about saying house in, and how she felt about it. And for me, I think because of who she is and what she does as a day-to-day job, I think her tolerance level is nil, is zero. Just like I think if you were using the B word in front of her, I think her tolerance level would probably be nil as well. So I think it depends upon what level you're at.
Well, see, the difference with me, and I just for my own consumption, I'm not saying what the outrage of people are, because I understand that I'm a little different. And again, like I say, I try to focus more on intent than the actual word, because I can say 50 million, not 50 million, but I might be able to find 5 other derogatory words that aren't that word, and people would take it differently. And for me, the intent, so if you use 5 different words and it was the same intent, I'm going to feel the same way about it, personally. Because I'm about the intent, right? So what do you intend to do? What are you intending to try to do here? Like, are you intending to be negative or not? Poor taste is, and I'd be the first one to say to somebody like like one of my real cool dudes is a white dude. Shout out to Matty Ice. They're out there in Maui right now. Send text messages from drinking. They got something called Maui beer. He's on the beach drinking Maui beer. I don't know. So allegedly he's supposed to be bringing some back, but most of my interaction with him has been I haven't been around him with white people, so it's always been blacks, Hispanics, whatever, right? If Matt ever uttered the word, like, I wouldn't think it was malicious, but 2 reasons. A, bro, 1, I don't know if you want to fight people in here, because I don't know how everybody else is gonna take this. 2, that's crossing the line, but I would judge it by the intent. And that's all I'm trying to say. Like, what is his intention? Is his intention? I've been in rooms with him where it's been N-bombs just all over the place. Everybody's just kicking it. Like, if it slipped out, it's almost like if an alien came and came in that room, he might be like, that's just another word. Me be looking at him like, ho, 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 right? But my intention, I would try to decipher the intention. I still would be like, yo, bro, that's not appropriate for you to be saying. For whatever, however fair or unfair, whatever that is, that's fine. But the intent is the main thing that I would focus on.
So, Breeze, let me Breeze. Do you have any thoughts that you want to convey about this?
No, I concur extensively with what Sue was saying. I mean, it really comes down to a thing, I just don't see that it's going to happen. You don't use the word at all, because you're going to go through this all the time. We know because of the community that we live in, it's really looked upon as a term of endearment.
Right.
But, it's like you have to decipher as to, the context of when it's okay to use and when it's not to be used. But again, getting back to the Bill Maher thing, I think it was definitely in poor taste. He's a comedian, and if you know his background and the things that he's stated in the past and his stance on things, you won't go there. But just like with the Kathy Griffin thing, all that comes into play, and we got to look at the totality of everything, the climate that we're in right now, especially politically. There's a lot of angst with various people, a lot of the supporters of Trump, and people that aren't supportive of him. So it's a tough thing, but it really comes down to, really let alone using it at all, but, when you're using it, because it could be a thing where, people's emotions start to bubble up and because I've been in a work environment where I work with some Caucasians and we're close, and a situation came about and the emotions got the best of them and they came out with it, and that really changed the whole environment and everything. So it goes back to what we were talking about in the intro. We got to be more conscientious of what we say and what we do.
That's fair. So there are calls for him to be fired. There are calls for him to be fired.
Of course.
Is this a fireable offense?
I mean, for me, no. I mean, he's not a repeat offender, man. So, I mean, if we want people to toe this line, that's going to be perfect. I mean, 16 years, I don't know if we ever heard a complaint. So, not from me. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Is there a word or a phrase or something that is absolutely inappropriate for Black people to use?
Is there a word or a phrase that is
Right. So if that was Martin Lawrence doing that show and he said I wouldn't be in the field, I'd be a house nigga, will we be outraged today?
No.
Right.
Let's say it this way: some people would be, but the masses would not be.
Right. Well, Angela Rye, would she be? Do you think she'd be tweeting that? Martin, as silly as Martin is the Martins, the Eddie Murphys, that stick genre that they have. This is dude. We be tweeting about them dudes every time they do a show. It's the stuff that comes out their mouth, right? So, is there a phrase that Black folks can't use? We good with every term. Because if you made if a Black man made whatever a derogatory term is, I gotta ask a white person what would absolutely offend them.
Same thing.
If a dude said that, if a Black dude said that, would there be outrage?
Probably not.
I'm just curious.
But that's because the overwhelming, prevailing thought is you can't be racist as a Black person.
I don't believe that.
I don't necessarily believe it either, but there are thoughts that say that that's true. You can't be racist being a Black person.
Oh no, that's totally false, because we have racism and prejudice amongst ourselves because of the tone of the college. If you're dark skinned, if you're a waffle, it comes into play. So that I don't believe that as well.
I'm not proud to say this, and I know we're up against this break where I know some Black people absolutely hate white people. Hate, to a point where I'm like, bro, you need to chill. I absolutely know. So I get it. I would call this one person, absolutely. I call him a reverse racist all the time, and I shouldn't even be saying reverse, because if you're racist, you're racist. Like, you look the definition of racism up, it probably doesn't have a race in it. It probably says how you treat people of a different race.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever. But okay, we got one more subject to get into to start to bridge us into our sports talk today. It is one of Mo's favorite people who I've been hating for since the origin of this show. And Mo has been telling me that I need to get over myself and, stop hating this guy and whatever. So maybe he'll explain it. Maybe he's got defense for it. I don't know. We'll find out on the other side. We'll be right back.
Yeah, Cav Love, Brown Sugar, about to set it like, y'all, just for my soccer touch it up right quick. Somehow Brooklyn do, you know what I mean? Yeah. Listen, yo, let's start it up. Let's get it flowing. Let's make a move. Let's get it going. I know it's feeling like everything you want, don't it? And you've been waiting your whole life for one moment. Well, baby, here it is. You better step to it. I know you're ready, right? Then, baby, let's do it. Move your neck to it. Put your arms and legs next to it. Then put whatever else is left to it. See, you're all in. Now you about to rock them. Got your focus, man. Now they got a problem. Who you talking to? Son right there. The man in the mirror. I see him quite clear. Do your thing, Cap. Work it out, dog. Open up their minds. Be about yours. Silence everyone who ever tried to doubt yours. Get your mind right. Get your sound raw. Heavy bass, man. Make it bounce more. Make them feel it from the ceiling to the ground floor. How it sound, y'all. I know it's crazy, right? I know it's crazy tight. Don't ever take me light. It's Cap Love, y'all. And that's what's up, y'all. I'm beat game. I know exactly what you want, y'all. I make it jump, y'all. So put them up, y'all. Brown Sugar Brooklyn is about to jump off. You got to give it to me. You need to give it to me. You better give it to me. Give it. Me. Brown Sugar, leave the brown sugar. Got the world sweating like queens without cooker. You know you're really gonna give it to me. You better give it to me. You got to give it to me. Give it. Brown Sugar. Flick your lips to it. Work your hips to it. A steady rocking like this. Like 1, 2, 3 into the 4. That brother Cabby Cab is here, so let him know. This for my hustlers. This for my scramblers. This for my sexy mommy. For everybody. Banging at any party. And watch them rock to it. Bounce and pop to it. This here's hot music. Duke, I'm not losing. You need to stop fooling. I know the game very well, boy. I'm not stupid. Sharp and smart moving. Applying a heart to it. Came here to get the ghetto blocks moving. And after rocking in the porch and backyards moving. Keep it cracking, cause I love the way that y'all do it. You got to give it to me. You need to give it to me. You better give it to me. Give it to me. Brown Sugar, leave the ground sugar. Serve the way how we make it sound. Put up like you got to give it to me. You need to give it to me. You got to give it to me. Brown Sugar.
After that, we're back to the Full Disclosure Show. I see Breeze is warming up. Please stay tuned for 12 to 1. Mr. Breeze DBL is going to put down latest hip hop, R&B, and club classics. A birthday mix. Shouts to friend to the room, Mr. Aviator Life. Thank you so much for being on the check-in as you are most weeks. Also, on a sad note, and Breeze, maybe you can go in your archive, but we're going to test you right now, see how deep this catalog you got is. The Educated Rapper from UTFO passed away yesterday. The Educated Rapper, UTFO, the group, I think their famous song was Roxanne, Roxanne. He passed away yesterday from cancer, so definitely condolences to him and his family. For those of you who grew up in the 80s, you know exactly who UTFO is. They were a very, very legendary group back during their time. So definitely wanted to get that out there. So let's see, Breeze, if you got something in your catalog that can pull back some memories. So we'll see.
You give him too much time. You got 15 minutes now.
Yeah, he's probably going somewhere down
Track source or something. I know.
Spotify or something. Yeah, that's what.
Let's go.
All right, so let's move on. Let's get into some sports. So LeBron James, the NBA Finals started this week. The day before, 2 days before, someone spray painted on his house the N-word. His second house in California, and I'm only calling it his second house because he plays in Cleveland, so I'm going to assume it's the second house. It's $2 million state.
With LeBron, that might be his 10th house, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, right.
It's a $20 million estate in the city of Brentwood, same city that OJ lived in. For those of you who remember, that's where he stayed. They spray painted the N-word on the house. I guess staffers found it. They called the police. I think that it was even covered over before the police got there. LeBron James comes out and, he was having his pre-NBA Finals press conference, and obviously he was asked about it. And LeBron James, went into his dialogue about, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or not in America. You still are subject to racism, essentially was what he was saying. So he has his dialogue for a couple of minutes about that. The reason this is a story is because Jason Whitlock, who Sue was referring to earlier prior to going into the break, he's calling my friend and a guy that I really like, and I do enjoy his commentary most times, came out and went on, and Jason Whitlock is on Fox Sports 1. He went on the Colin Cowherd show and basically said that LeBron James is embracing his victimhood. He said racism is only an issue for the poor. He said LeBron James experienced a disrespectful act and an inconvenience, not racism. He said this is not going to stop LeBron James from rising. And he also said that it's a lie that it's being tough being a black man in America. He said that's a lie. He said it's only for the poor. I don't know. He's all over the place. He said people like himself, LeBron James and Oprah Winfrey, and he specifically said those names, don't experience racism. They experience inconveniences. Because they have money, they don't experience racism. Now, I'm going to stop there. He's been dragged throughout social media from all walks of life. So I'm going to stop there before I go to the next part of it and get your thoughts on it.
Whoa. I mean, I thought it was one of the dumber things I ever heard from somebody who's educated. Just for the simple fact that, I can give an example, and I thought about this. This has been weird because I've had a few days to think about it, and a lot of times we just kind of go off the cuff or a few minutes before. But I mean, by his scenario, if it was myself, you, I don't know, Breeze, Oprah, and LeBron James in a car together, and we get pulled over, and there's some racist act, only three of us, right? Or let's just say I'm the poor one, all of y'all got money, whatever, and I'm the only one who's going to be a victim of racism, even though the same exact thing happened to all five of us, but because you guys all have money, you weren't a victim. You were just inconvenienced, and I was a victim of racism. No matter what happened, the situation, it happened to all five of us together at the same exact time. By his warped logic, only I would be a victim of racism, not you, because you got money.
I'd be inconvenienced.
You're just inconvenienced over there. I'm being a victim of racism. And then I wish to be able, these are the times where you wish to be able to ask the question or have a contact with somebody who could ask him the question. How much money do you need? Is it 100,000? A million? 1.473? Like, where's the line? Like, where do I say? Well, I've now made enough money that I could no longer be a victim of racism. I just thought it was dumb. And you know, we talked about this. I don't know if I talked to you about. I know I talked to Breeze, and shout out to Will because I talked to him on the phone about this. You kind of know when somebody said something crazy. When I got the white studio host, I got the black guy talking crazy about some black dude, and the white dude was looking at the black dude like, "What are you talking about?" Hey, B, I have he's the anti-Bill Maher on this. I have absolutely nothing to say about what this nonsense that you're talking about right now. And if you got to see the video, I know Breeze has a couple of clips, so you know, Breeze, you could choose whichever one you want to play if you want to. Of the interview, he's got a couple of excerpts of the interview. If you get a chance, go online, look at the video. I mean, you see his guy's face. You just see like the complete, like, what are you talking about? And they had a follow-up show where he went and talked about it some more. And that same studio host was finally asking some questions. I guess he had some time to digest it and said, okay, I can ask, you know, X, Y, Z. And he just, Whitlock just still stayed with his position. It's just like, I didn't find one person. Like, I went on Twitter. I love to see this guy taking it because, you know, I don't like him. So the Twitter hate he was getting was pure enjoyment for me. It was turn the TV off and look at the Twitter line. Just read. And I'm the type of person who will, I'll search his name and just read people's comments to find out, you know, what the pulse of the country is. I probably retweeted 5 or 6 of them. If I read 100, I didn't read one guy who said Whitlock is right on with this. Everybody was like, what is he talking about? So, you know, I kind of posed the question out there. Do you think that he honestly believes this, or do you think that this is something that he's trying to do to boost his profile? And I'm hoping it's the latter, but I believe it's the first part.
So, in full disclosure, I thank you for putting me up on this because I hadn't seen it until you sent out the clips via Twitter. I do follow Jason Whitlock, and I am totally off his bandwagon on this. There's no defense for me at all. I think he's totally off base. I think he's totally wrong. He goes on, and you mentioned the second show that he was on. He goes on and has a show. He has his own show called Speak for Yourself, also on Fox Sports 1. We talked a lot about Fox Sports 1 the last few weeks, by the way. Not so much about ESPN, but a lot about Fox Sports 1. Is there a changing of the guard happening? But anyway.
I think that what we're seeing is you put these characters on who going out here and just do whatever to be newsworthy. So, I mean, I don't know if we're talking about Fox 1 in a good light, but if you're one of these people who say any pub is good pub, I guess. But, like, we're not giving them props on anything over here.
No, definitely not. But we've just been having a lot of dialogue about Fox Sports 1 and their commentators.
I will give Fox some credit here, though. And I think it's a little different than ESPN. I think that the shot that they had is this. I also looked at Mike Hill, who's a former ESPN anchor who now anchors some NFL stuff on Fox, who responded to Whitlock. It's another African American who responded to Whitlock and really just gave Whitlock the business, and then at some point said, I'm not talking about this because all he wants is attention. And in that Twitter feed, somebody asked him if he still worked for Fox. He was like, yeah, and I just re-upped my contract. So it feels like Fox is kind of doing what ESPN doesn't do and allows you to have your own opinion. And I think that that's cool. So that would make me watch Fox more because at least you won't get this robotics program. Like, you know, somebody at ESPN gets in trouble. Nobody from ESPN is really talking about it. It's a little blurb, and then they keep it moving. You know, like Fox is, they're allowing some other Fox guys to get at him and without repercussions. So I think that that's refreshing. About as refreshing as this mint and lemon water that I'm drinking right now.
And what I'll do at the top of the hour, I'll play a snippet of his actual comments. So people can really, those who hadn't heard it, they can get the full context of what he said.
Fair enough. So on his own show, he brings on Chris Broussard, he brings on Colin Cowherd, and he brings on Cedric Ceballos, former NBA player. And he starts off and he starts to reiterate his thought process about this whole victimhood that LeBron is trying to the narrative that he's trying to push. And Chris Broussard, every time he tried to respond, Jason Whitlock cut him off. To the point where Chris Broussard was like, let me talk. And Jason Whitlock responds, this is my show. And he said, I don't care whose show it is, Chris Broussard, I'm on the set.
I like that.
Absolutely. And, you know, they didn't really get a chance to, he didn't let Chris Broussard really get out what he wanted to get out in a full sentence or a full thought. He kept butchering everything that he said. And Chris Broussard allowed him to say everything that he wanted to say to start the story off, the segment off. But then he wanted to chop him up for everything because he didn't want the narrative to come out the way that Chris Broussard was trying to get it out. This is a bad situation for him because he's being dragged throughout the media. You already spoke about Mike Hill. Martellus Bennett was dragging him as well. Martellus Bennett, the tight end, NFL tight end, was dragging him as well. And he's a very socially conscious guy. I know that I think I saw Mark Lamont Hill was dragging him. D.L. Hughley, comedian, was dragging him as well. I mean, he is really, really, really catching a lot of heat. He even went to the point where, you know, it ain't tough for me out here. I'm going to go home to my apartment in Wiltshire, throw the keys to some Spanish or white guy and they're going to say, what else can I do for you, Mr. Whitlock? He was almost saying it like in a slavery tone, like, what else can I do for you, sir? That's kind of how he was saying it in a reverse side. And then he said, I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to go in, and the concierge is going to say, Mr. Whitlock, we got a package for you, sir. Is there anything else I can do for you? He really went into that mode. And he said, I'm going to go to my fourth floor apartment, and I'm going to start doing whatever else it is I want to do.
I mean, it was just one of the dumbest things. Like, it didn't make sense from any angle. Like, I tried to even think about, you know, I get that sometimes people say some things and it comes out wrong. So I'm like, okay, what could he have possibly meant here? And I'm going, there's nothing he possibly could have meant here that absolutely makes sense because, you know, I mean, LeBron's issue was, I think that the statement that LeBron was making was that I got all the money in the world, I still got to deal with this. It wasn't about him, you know. Whitlock talked about poor people and if they got in trouble, how they would have to get a public defender. And LeBron wouldn't, and all this other nonsense. He's just saying, look, I've got all this money. I can go live in the best neighborhoods in the country, and I still can't get rid of this. That's all he was saying. And Whitlock takes this to some other level. Like, LeBron wasn't acting like he was scared. He wasn't acting like that. Although I wouldn't be mad at him thinking that, like, just imagine this scenario. And I know we're up against the break. Just imagine this scenario. You know, somebody being wealthy or well off. It's relative to who you are, right? So, like, somebody come over from a third world country and become a manager at McDonald's, he might feel like he's rich. Bill Gates got to go work at McDonald's. He feels like it's time to kill himself, right? So it's relative to who you are. So if you got your wherever you live and somebody was breaking in your house when you go to work or whatever, somebody broke in your house and was stealing a penny a day. But a penny's not going to hurt you. It's not going to change your life. The penny's not, and that's the terms that he was using, not going to change your life. And so you losing a penny's not going to change your life. But at some point, and you weren't home and your family wasn't home, but at some point you might feel that somebody just came in here yesterday when I wasn't here. Are they going to try to come in here when I am here? Or are they going to try to come in here when my kids are here by themselves? And that's LeBron, right? So if his kids are outside shooting around, playing basketball, doing whatever, are these same people going to come back? And they just spray painted today, but what kind of people are they? They're going to kidnap my kids? They're going to try to shoot my kids? Like, what are they going to... So it's right for him to be concerned. Where this guy is saying, well, if you got money, it's no reason for you to be concerned. So what is he suggesting? That LeBron hired a private army to be outside his house every time he's in LA or what? Like, it's ridiculous. So it just put the nail in the coffin for me. Well, it didn't even put the nail in the coffin because the nail was in the coffin. It put the dirt on the fifth degree. I put that fool in the coffin and cremated him. That's what this did for me today. But coming up next, Breeze will play a little bit of the clip, and I guess we'll be getting into some NBA Finals. Looks like I got 3 games to go over here to match that bold prediction that I had of 16-0 or 15-1. So all I got to do is go 3-1 here. We'll be back after the break.
Yo, BMD, yeah, what's up, man? They know that girl they call Roxanne. She's all stuck up. Why you say that? Cause you wouldn't give a guy like me no rap. Now she was walking out with me, so I said, hello, can't go from the CEO. And she so I said, so, baby, don't you know I can sing, rap, dance in just one show? Cause I'm can't go, Mr. Sophisticator. Stars I know ain't nobody greater from beginning to end and to beginning. I never used to cause I'm all about winning, but if I was to lose, I wouldn't be insane. Cause I'm not a gambler. I don't bet. I don't think you know casino. And maybe all you know, the inside is the grizzly killing. So I want you to get the give me deepest rap. I thought I had a business, I was in the track. I thought it'd be a piece of paper, but it was nothing like that. I guess that's what I could think. It ain't that right black. I thought I had it in the palm of my hand. But man, oh man, if I was brand, I'd bang Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne, can't you understand? Roxanne, Roxanne, I wanna be your man. No, Kango, I don't think that you're dense, but you went about the matter with no experience. You should know she doesn't need a guy like you. She needs a guy like me with a high IQ. And she takes for my rap, cause my rap the best. The educated rapper MD will never pass. So when I met her, I wasted no time, but stuck up like sand, baby, don't mind. She thought my name was Barry, I told her it was Barry. She said she didn't like it, so she chose to call me Barry. She said she loved to marry, my baby she would carry. And if she had a baby, his name was baby Harry. Her mother name is Mary, which is believed arbitrary. Her face is very hairy, and you can say he's scary. She lives in Miami, our father's a fairy. His wife's a secretary, and some February. Back in January, or was it February? But every time I say this song, it makes me kind of weary. It's only customary to get this commentary. You never find a rhyme like this in any dictionary. But do you know, after all that, all I received was a pat on my back. That's what you get. It happened to me. Ain't that right? Mix master, ICE. Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne. You thought you had a rap, you thought you was stupid. But EMD, your rap was plain stupid. I know you're educated, but when will you learn? Not all girls want to be involved with bookworms. You gotta be strong, which you can't resist. Since she's a new girl around the block, I had to let her know I was the devil wild. She said, you call yourself a doctor. I said, listen, she said, explain to me really what doctors must do. I said, this is very simple. I don't say this everything. It's a major medical field the doctor must play. Dermatology is treatment of the skin. In fact, that ain't you see me over and over again. There's anesthesiology, ophthalmology, internal medicine, and plastic surgery, orthopedic surgery, and pathology of disease combined with shade of the body. She said, ooh, that's very unique. Gave me her number and kissed me on the cheek. She said she had to go, she'd be back by 8. She told me call at 9 to arrange the thing. Did he take it to the beach? That's what we planned. But she stood me up. Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne. I wanna be your man. Roxanne, Roxanne. And here's our game plan. The beat is here, so we will reveal it. Roxanne, Roxanne, feel it.
Three minutes after that, back to the full disclosure show. You guys are 57 minutes away from Mr. Breeze DBL and his fully disclosed mix. So please stay tuned to that, as he will be back and live and in full effect with his mix. All right, let's get into these NBA Finals.
Hold up. Let me just real quick play this.
That's right.
Of Jason, and we'll probably get for those who might have not had heard it, we might get some tweets and some comments as opposed to comments.
Embracing his LeBron to me here is embracing his victimhood. This is not the racism that needs to be stamped out in America. This is an inconvenience for LeBron. Someone spray painting something on a millionaire's home. He's not a victim in that situation? Hell no. He was victimized? It's nothing, Chris. It wasn't that big of a deal. If someone denies you an opportunity, you can't go to school here, you can't have this, you can't have that. That is the impact of racism.
Okay,
LeBron was inconvenienced, and racism affects the poor, the very wealthy. And for him to sit here and say, no matter where you are, it's tough being black. It ain't tough being LeBron James. It ain't tough being Oprah Winfrey. The wealthy have regardless of color, have a far better chance of overcoming whatever unfairness happens to them than people that are not wealthy. This man getting spray painted on his front door that he never saw, his staff cleaned up, it's an inconvenience. It's not racism. It's not being denied a job.
It is racism. He didn't spray paint jerk on his door.
He can speak out and say, you know what? This was terrible. Whoever these individuals were, it was stupid. But the people that really are impacted by this are the poor people who face discrimination.
It's amazing. And again, thank you, Breeze, for that clip. That clip came from his Jason Whitlock's own Fox Sports 1 TV show called Speak for Yourself. It's amazing. When you hear him, it just goes deeper into thinking about how crazy his idea is about what this is. It's almost, he was like, Chris Broussard clearly stated they didn't just paint jerk on the thing. They painted the N-word. There's a difference. There's a difference. And in fact, if they threatened him in any kind of way, it would be considered a hate crime at that point. Right. Because they spray painted the N-word on there, and if they say any kind of threat of doing any kind of harm, it would be considered a hate crime. So how he doesn't believe that this is not racism, I don't understand. I don't get it.
He thinks the amount of money you have is a determining factor.
Correct.
He champions himself and he tried to explain this part, right? He tries to champion himself as somebody who stands up for the poor. That's fine. Great for you, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that like the ramifications of what happened to a poor person might be a little different. As far as just from the basic perspective of LeBron had a team, which he said his team on this show, but on the previous show, he said his flunkies, which was another thing that got under my skin. Because why does his people have to be flunkies? Like, he's got enough money to have some help. His crew's got to be flunkies. If it was Bill Gates' people, it would have just been his people or his team or his whatever, right? So that's a part of, those are the kind of things that he throws out, and that's a part of the vitriol that I have towards that guy, because then he tries to stand behind something else, right? So go out on the second time and call him flunkies again, because that's what you thought of him. You think it's LeBron, you think it's this black dude who's got this money, who, I don't know if you're hating on him or something. You must be hating on the guy or something, I don't know. And now all the people around him, or the guys who help him out, got to be flunkies. Right? You're not calling anybody else's guys flunkies. You're not doing that. So knock it off with that. But I mean, he's just a fraud, man. He's a fraud. He's trying to get his followers up, and he's trying to get his build his own brand. And it's crazy. So, the 5 to 10 minutes of fame we gave him on the Full Disclosure show. I hope that helps you out. Yeah, and I won't get into the weight jokes that have been floating around. Personally, but I do want to repeat one because I thought it was quite hilarious. Somebody had said, I don't know why they think he's diabetic. I guess he's overweight, but somebody said he probably takes his diabetes pills smothered in brown grape.
I'm not gonna condone that. I'm not laughing at that.
It was. I'm not condoning it, but it's still funny. Yeah, I don't care about that, dude. You got it. I don't care about it.
We'll see how his week goes this week. We'll continue to monitor that. All right, obviously this week we had the first game of the NBA Finals. Cleveland Cavaliers went into Golden State on Thursday night after a week. We had basically waited a week before the first game happened. I watched the first quarter. I watched the whole game, but after the first quarter, I tweeted out, if the finals is going to be played this way, we're probably going to have basically a great series because they were allowing a lot of physicality and not really making a whole lot of calls. Unfortunately, to my not thinking process, but Golden State figured out a way to get the game a little bit looser and have more of a free-flowing offense. And that's bad news for Cleveland because they're not going to be able to keep up in a wide-open spread offense. Kevin Durant had 38 points. Steph Curry had 28. Nothing to mention about anybody else on the team. Cleveland had 20 turnovers. They played well, I thought, in the first half. We played pretty well. You know, it's crazy. They were down 8 at the half and very close to being down 5. It was a missed 3 at the buzzer that was very close to going, and it just kind of popped itself out. So, you know, they didn't have a terrible first half, but, you know, as you and I have spoken about on these airways, once Golden State gets up about 12, 15, they're going to run away and hide. And it was 8 at half, and Steph Curry came out, and he made them run away and hide. It's basically what he did. I don't have any more thoughts on the game. I'm going to let you go from there.
Clay.
So, I was a little concerned at halftime, to be honest with you, because I understand that complacency is a big part of what Golden State's Achilles heel is, right? So they should have been up by more points than they were at the half. So I'm going, okay, if I'm I'm thinking what I would be saying if I was Ty Lue, the Cleveland coach. I'd be telling my guys, they gave us their best shot, or we played as bad as we could play, and we still in this game. And those are those put the foot on the throat moments where I thought Golden State could have easily been up 15. I mean, they were literally missing layups. Literally. Like, I
for that too, but go ahead.
I saw a couple layups that they just flat out missed, and shots that they don't normally miss. Put it that way. So they're a great shooting team overall. So they've got 3 of the best shooters, as good as shooters as we've ever seen in the league. I'm trying to rank them, but I was a little concerned. But then when Steph came out second half, it was just like, because I don't see the answer, but I think a lot of things have to break for Cleveland to win. Not just flat out here, I'm just going to line you up and there's not going to be anything crazy that happens. Or if everything goes as per the norm, I think that Golden State wins. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So, I mean, hopefully, for my sake, I hope it's a sweep, but hopefully, my sake, just from a prediction perspective, but you know, you hope to, as a fan, you hope to get to see, you know, some compelling games. And you had a taste last week between the conference finals and the finals, what that week was going to be without basketball. So you want to hold on and savor this as long as you can.
That's fair. So I think the plan for Cleveland was to not allow these guys to beat them shooting threes. Because initially, because you mentioned the missed layups, they were allowing Jaja Pachulia to roll right down the lane after he set the screen to the basket and said, you know what, if Jaja Pachulia is going to finish all these baskets over the top of whomever it is that's guarding the basket at that point, we're going to allow that to happen, and at least it's going to be 2s and not 3s. Well, initially, Jaja Pachulia was not realizing, because he's not used to being open that often, was not realizing that he was having layups at the basket, so he wasn't looking to score. And when he did look to score, by the time he decided to look to score, I think that his rhythm was off, and hence the missed chippies that he missed a lot of. Draymond Green, I don't believe, is a scorer, so he's 6'7", having to finish over the top of 6'8", 6'10" guys matters. It makes a difference. And I think, again, Cleveland was saying, if Draymond Green can finish over the top of these guys, no problem, we'll take that loss. And the biggest place where you saw them saying they were not going to get beat by 3s was Kevin Durant, a couple times on the break, pushing the break, and instead of them stopping the ball, Cleveland, they ran Steph Curry or Klay Thompson on the wing, the 3-point shooters, and Kevin Durant comes down the lane and gets wide open dunks. So clearly the message was, we're not going to allow them to sit out here and beat us by 3s. Keep this game close by allowing them to play 2s. But here's the problem that Cleveland had. Unfortunately for them, Cleveland can't win a game that was played from probably the last 4 minutes of the second quarter through the end of the fourth quarter. They have to win. They're gonna have to only win games that was played from the first quarter up to probably 4 minutes left in the second quarter, which is a smaller possession game, not a wide open offense. And every time down, the team has to come down and set up offense and run offense. If they are creating turnovers, they have zero chance to win the series. And you know what? I will agree with you that they will get swept if this game does not completely slow itself down. I will agree with that. They cannot win a wide open style game. As great a scorer as I feel Kyrie Irving is, as great a scorer as I think LeBron James is, they don't have enough firepower. It's just not going to happen to keep up with that team in that kind of style. It has to be a slower pace. So now the narrative is they're going to figure out how to be more physical. Not be dirty, but figure out how to be more physical. I don't know how much more physical they could be than they were in the first quarter and a half of that game. I don't know how much more they could be outside of that. I don't know.
I'm with you on that. And the one thing that I tried to, when I talked about Golden State's roster changes this year is I like the addition of JaVale McGee. I think Bogut's probably a better basketball player than Zaza, but
splitting hairs.
It ain't nothing knocking.
One brown penny to another brown penny.
If you pick one, I have to take the other one. I'm not going anywhere crying about it. So, I think that they have certain lineups that could deal with the physicality, and from a physical perspective, obviously LeBron's the most physical player on the floor, and Tristan Thompson could be physical, I guess, but who else is physical over there? So,
I don't know what else they can do.
Right, so it's not like you're against the 93 Knicks or something. Like, they can't turn into that. So that's not necessarily a concern. When we want to get super physical, they go throw David West in for 7 minutes to deal with some of that. And he's not the player he used to be, but he's still a pretty physical guy. So I don't know what the answer is, and I've been asking people what do you do? The best answer that I've heard so far, I'll save it for after the break. It's right on time. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
On to stop me from the IV. And they soft like a Twinkie villain, playing the villain, prepare for this rap killing. Biggie Smalls is the illest. Your style is played out like Arnold. What you talking about, Willis? The thrill is gone. The black stripes, white is here to excite. Throw so like I'm brainless, so like I'm stainless steel. I want the fortune like the wind. I squeeze gas till my clips is empty. Don't tempt me. You don't want the hair right now. I'll be damned if this ain't. Come respect about your lyrics over harmony great. It's the milk killer, death trap. Yes, I'm a jet black ninja. Coming where you rest at, surrender. Step inside the ring, you the number one contender. Looking cold booty like you're back in December. Stop. Button up your lippin'. For method, all you gettin' is the can at whippin'. Hey, I'll be kicking. You, sir, you doing all the yapping, acting as if it can't happen. Your button got me mad enough to cut something. You want from Shallon, Allen, and ain't afraid to bust something. So what you want? You want? I got a 6-shooter and a horse named Trigger. It's real, 94, rugged raw. Kicking on your damn door. Something like this. The world don't have this. Everything you get, you got the world all for it. Honey, shake your hip, you don't stop. Back, clip, keep on. Verse 2, coming with that OE brew. Met the cab, putting back in ICU. I'm lifted, true. You can bring your whack crew. I got connection. I get that stuff like glue. No question. I'll be coming down and yo, I get rugged as big and love it. Not in the physical form, but in the mental. I and they cells get bought. I'm not a gentle man, I'm a method man. Baby, accept it, utmost respected. Assume the position. Stop, look, and listen. I spit on your grave, then I grab my chalk.
Welcome to my center. Let me feel it deep in the placenta. Cold as the pole in the winter. Far from the inventor. Well, I got this rap sold, and when my Mac I'm loads, I'm guaranteed another video. Ready to die while I act that way. Pop Duke, left Mark Duke, took the back way. So instead of making up, I used to do stick up, cause it's irritating like the excuse me, flows just grow through me. Like trees to branches, cliffs to avalanches. It's the praying mantis, deep like the Mother Farrakhan. A motherfucking rap phenomenon. Plus,
I got more plots and text than you.
I make it hot.
Won't even stand next to you.
Touch me, you better bust me 3 times in the head. Or motherfucker that. You thought so.
The world don't ask me for shit. Did everything you get, you got to work hard.
Honey, shake your hip.
You don't stop. The world don't ask me for shit. Everything you get, you got to work hard for it.
Honey, shake your hip.
You don't stop.
Pack the clutch. Yeah.
It's all the Mecca cat. 9-4. Coming at you all, shelling down.
Yeah. Twenty-one minutes away. Back to the full disclosure show. You guys are 39 minutes away from Mr. Breeze DBL has fully disclosed Nick. So please stay tuned to that from 12 to 1.
Hey, let me say something real quick. Hey, props to Method Man, man. I forgot how nice Method Man was until yesterday. As I was at our gym yesterday.
That steak, Mo.
And I was getting my treadmill work in. I went to iHeartRadio, and as I was getting my workout in, back when I used to work out a little more consistently, I always worked out better to like rock and roll for some reason. I don't know why, but always like it just added a level of intensity. But it went off the rails for me. Then I said, iHeartRadio allows you to pick a station, like an artist station. So I picked Jay-Z station. Right. So I hear, so it's supposed to play Jay-Z music and Jay-Z type music, but it actually wound up playing more Method Man music. And I was hearing songs from Method Man I hadn't heard in a long time. And I was like, you know what? Really forgot how nice that guy was. I'm not putting him in an all-time status or anything, but he had his little niche, and he was kind of slick with a couple of lines. So I just wanted to shout Method Man out since he played that. That definitely reminded me of that. And I meant to tell you, it's so crazy, because I meant to tell you, like, man, they played a couple of Redman, Method Man songs that just had me going. They were a fun little rap group in the 90s. So shout out to them.
I'm just happy to hear that you went to the Jay-Z station. That does my ears a lot of good.
I love Jay-Z.
Okay, all right.
What makes you think I don't like him?
I'm just happy that you went to the station. That's it. I didn't say you didn't like him. So before we went to the break, we were talking about Golden State and Cleveland. You were going to tell me what you had heard on how to stop or how things can change for Cleveland.
Well, I don't know if it's going to work. But some of the suggestion was you just got to sell out, man. And I'm a fan of this sometimes, where you got to make the worst people beat you. So you got to make a situation where Draymond's got to get 25. Right. Or you got to make a situation where Zaza got to have 15 and 10 or something crazy. They said go at everybody, not name. I mean, let everybody shoot, not name Curry, Thompson, and Grant. Because even though Thompson's not playing well, you can't assume that it's going to happen forever. You know who he is, so you can't assume that that's going to be the trend of the entire series. So from all the suggestions of how to stop them, that was probably the one that piqued my interest the most.
Which is fair. I'm going to say this about Tristan Thompson. He played horrible. He was horrible in game one. Golden State, surprisingly to me, killed Cleveland on the glass, on the boards. Killed them. Second shot after second shot after second shot is really what put them in the situation they were in. They killed them. That can't happen. Tristan Thompson has to own that matchup at the floor. Or at least, and you know, it's not even like Draymond was even Draymond in that game. He was not. Right? He didn't even do what he normally does. And obviously I hate to even bring his name up. But he didn't even do what he normally does. And Tristan Thompson didn't own that. And for me, that's a problem. They looked small on the court. And then Tristan Thompson, they were leaving him open, and he wasn't trying to figure out how to go score. And if you notice at one point in the third quarter, they brought in Richard Jefferson, and they sat Tristan Thompson for a long time in the game because Richard Jefferson was trying to score. So it changed the defense up of Golden State. And it goes back to my point that, don't matter. It's putting points in the basket, man. Don't matter about playing defense. It's about putting points on the board. And Cleveland knows they got to put more points on the board. Who cares about this defensive stuff? Are we going to be able to outscore? At the end of the day, is what it comes down to. Tristan Thompson ended up playing 22 minutes in that game because Ty Lue saw the same thing that I saw.
Yeah, but again, at some point, when you get to... So the dictator usually wins, in my opinion, right? So you dictated the fact that Richard Jefferson had to come play more because you went down 15. So now, you got no choice but to try to catch up. So you got to put the more... From that theory, Richard Jefferson should probably be starting.
No,
let's just put all
no. That's not what I'm saying to you. Not at all.
I'm not saying
I'm telling you, if Tristan Thompson is not going to look to attack the basket and be an offensive presence, then he can't play, especially if he's not at least completely dominating the boards and being a defensive presence.
And that's the point, right? So that's the point that I'm trying to make right there. So there's some mix of the two. Not the fact that he doesn't go out and get 15 points or whatever, but
not expecting him to.
Right, but when he's got 4 rebounds, now I got my rebounding guy who's supposed to be out here dominating the boards, and he's getting dominated too. Yeah, he got to go. It's not just about the fact that he's not scoring points. It's the fact that what is your purpose? If this is who you are, and you're not doing that, we got to take you out. So it's not just about him not scoring points or he doesn't have enough offense. Once they get down 15, Tristan Thompson's not going to be in the game. But we discussed that already. You're going to change your entire lineup, but then we're saying it. If you let them get up 15, it's over. And so here's the philosophy, right? And so here's why it's more of a combination of the two than just putting points on the basket and putting points in the basket. Golden State's going to shoot a lot of threes. Cleveland's starting lineup's not going to shoot a ton of threes. I mean, maybe J.R. Smith. Let me finish. Maybe J.R. Smith jacks up a couple. Kyrie, fine. LeBron's not shooting a ton of threes. Normally, he's not shooting a ton of threes. So even if I'm trading 3-2 at some point you're going to be down some significant amount of point. And then what do? So Tristan Thompson's going to have to come out because you're not going to be able to keep up even if we're just trading baskets. The math doesn't work. And that's what I'm saying. So it's more than just scoring points. So if you're just trying to outscore them, then you're suggesting that you're going to have to stop them at some point. So you're going to have to play some kind of defense. Because if you're just going offense for offense, you better bring some dudes out here who can shoot threes because that's what they're going to do.
That's not what I'm suggesting. Because I watched Tristan Thompson last year in the NBA Finals against the same team, sans Kevin Durant, have an incredible finals. But he's got to be able to be an offensive threat when he gets the ball in the middle of the paint. And he was not. And on top of that, which exasperates the entire thing, he did nothing on the glass. He was no presence whatsoever. At some point, you're right. You got to pull him out and put this guy who can put some points on the board.
I'm going to say it. If a guy like, you can't let... How do you stop Draymond from getting to 25 if you don't have Tristan on the court? So
I don't think Draymond's getting to 25 on listen.
Okay, but we said so if you could figure out a way to shut down their big three, right? And then how do you stop Draymond from getting 20 with? So you want Tristan to? Who's gonna stop him If I take Tristan out and I put some offense on the floor, who's going to stop him from getting whatever it is he might get?
Where's Draymond going to get the 25 at? Like, you making it seem like it's just a foregone conclusion that if we stop these other three, that Draymond's going to get his 25. Where?
I tried to go say 20.
Okay, 20. Where is this foregone conclusion? Where is he getting it? Where is he? Not to say that it won't happen, but it's not like it's something that's a guarantee that he's going to get this no matter what.
I'm just saying from what I watched last year, right? When I watched Game 7 last year, he came out and had his great game when you shut when you shoot Curry down.
Hey, go ahead. But they weren't trying to stop him, is my point. They said, you know what? You can shoot that three all you want. I don't care. If you're going to shoot it, I'm okay. I'm not letting Steph Curry shoot it. So you know what? If he makes it, fine. But you know what? A lot of times he don't make it. So listen, I am not worried about who's going to stop Draymond Green from doing anything. And the reality is this: if I take Thompson out, to back to your original question, who's going to stop Draymond Green? Do you know what? I'm going to put Richard Jefferson on Kevin Durant, and I will just move LeBron James over to Draymond Green. And if LeBron James can't deal with him, then we got a problem. We got a problem if LeBron can't deal with him.
I got you.
The reality is Richard Jefferson can deal with him. They both 6'7". He can deal with him. But I can't believe I gotta talk about this guy, Draymond. Listen, I'm at a point now where I can't stand it. Because now I'm listening to him in an interview talking about, I'm the reason we lost last year's finals. Really?
I'm glad he said it finally. Maybe he saw my tweet.
Yeah, he ain't the reason they lost the finals. We can make the assumption that they were going to win that game, the game that he did not play, but we don't know that to be a fact. And then they had 2 more games to win, and they didn't do it. So let's not make it seem like he's the reason why they lost.
Hey,
he needs to stop.
Hey, there's some people who feel that way. He's one of the people who feel that way. I feel like he was a major contributor in them losing last year.
Okay, he's not the reason they lost. They lost because LeBron James went to work, and Kyrie Irving closed out the series. Because the reality is this: if they would have won Game 7, would we be having this conversation?
No, I would be saying, I don't know, this game, it wouldn't have went 7 is what I would have been saying.
Okay. Didn't they lose the game that he got kicked out of? They lost that game too, right?
They lost that game, and the game he was suspended. Yes. Right, so that was a big turning point. Yes.
No, actually, did they lose that game or did they win that game? I think they won the game he got suspended. I'm going to do my research on that. I'm going to find out. I think they won that game.
I don't think he got kicked out.
Well, I think they won that game.
Right, he kicked out. So they did. That was game 4. He didn't get kicked out. He got suspended for game 5.
And did they win that game?
Well, he couldn't have won because they were up 3-0, right? Were they up 3-0? No, they were up 3-1. So they must have been up 3-1. So they won that game.
Right.
But he didn't get suspended. He played the rest of the game. And then the game he missed is the first game that started the 3 in a row that they lost.
Well, why didn't he make himself available for them to win in Game 6 and 7 then?
I don't know, but if
he's that important.
You mad what type of way that he took the blame.
Too much time to him. Too much. I just can't. What do you think about today's game? Because I can't with this guy. How do you feel about today's game?
I feel like it's going to be worse than it was last game.
You think it's going to be worse than it was last game? So this series is just over to you?
Yes. It was over before it started to me.
You feel like the series was over last year?
I did. Until that happened. I think that momentum swings. I think that things do happen. I do, right? I think that even when that situation happens, it allows you to see something else in the defense. It allows you to find other ways to attack. I think that there's possibilities. So I do agree. Yes, I did. I tweeted that out a couple of days ago before he said it. I'm like, it's amazing how this guy doesn't take responsibility for them losing last year.
He shouldn't.
Okay. You got your opinion. I got mine.
And so you don't think that we're taking too much into Game 1 as this series being over? Same way we did last year. We took too much into those first games. They got beat by double digits the first 2 games last year.
You know what I'm saying? It's a coin flip in Game 7, right? With all people out there. Curry was a little injured, but I'm not even going to use that as an an excuse. And I insert Kevin Durant. And that's why I'm taking Golden State. I insert what everybody's saying is the second best basketball player on the planet Earth. I insert that to that squad. And so that's why I think Golden State's going to win. Like I'm putting more stock into adding Kevin Durant, getting rid of Harrison Barnes, adding Kevin Durant. And yes, that's why I think it's over. Because I think it was over. Draymond Green and all that, fine. I think it was over if Harry Barnes could have made 4 shots last year, wide open shots. I think it might have been.
We're not putting this at Harrison Barnes' feet. I'm sorry. We're not. We're not. Because the same Harrison Barnes won the title the year before.
But I'm watching the games and I'm saying he's missing wide open shots. I took the guy who's missing wide open shots out and assuming that
the guy won the title the year before.
Is that when he was making shots, they won. When he was missing shots, they lost.
So it's a make or miss league. We get it.
So I'm telling you, I took the guy who was missing the shots off the squad from last year, not the guy who missed the shots his whole career. Talking about last year, he was missing open shots last year.
Are we sure that Kevin Durant's going to make every open shot that he gets?
I'm betting that Kevin Durant will make more shots than he did. So me and you both don't know what's going to happen. You're asking me why I think it's this, because I think that he won't be missing the shots that Harrison Barnes is missing. What's up about that?
This is why I have an issue with Harrison Barnes even being brought up. And I've seen it from you and I've seen it from other people on Twitter. We all know that Kevin Durant's a better basketball player than Harrison Barnes. It's not even a conversation. We all know that Golden State upgraded their team when they brought in Kevin Durant. Why are we dragging Harrison Barnes? Because that's what we're doing, essentially. We're dragging him.
Why are stop. Then let me get this out before you Jason Whitlock me. Right? It's just be cutting me off, right? Like, so you asked me why I think it's gonna happen. All I'm doing is explaining to you why I think it's gonna happen. I think you upgraded the small forward position. It was already a wild pick'em game, and now I upgraded the small forward position. You don't want me to say his name? Okay, fine. I upgraded the small forward position with maybe the second best basketball player in the league. And that's why I think it's over. So anybody who knows sports and knows who played the small forward position last year is going to know I'm talking about Harry Barnes.
So maybe I didn't ask my question properly. My question was, why are we going so crazy after one game when last year we watched this go to 7? I agree with you. When we started this last week, when we made our predictions, I said that Golden State's probably going to win this series. But my question more so is, why are we saying, because it's almost like it's a foregone conclusion, this is going to be over in 4 or 5 games.
It's not, because it's not.
And that's where my is.
I don't know if you can hear me. Sounds like you have.
What?
You're breaking up. I can barely hear you.
You don't hear me?
I can hear you now. What'd you say?
I'm just saying it's a legitimate question of why do we assume that because of one game?
I'm answering it because this isn't the same team from last year. So yes, I'm not. So basically what you're saying is, no matter what this team is, why would you say it's over? It's a different team. I can see you asking me the same question if it was the same team. It's a different team now. So I think the team is better than it was last year.
Cleveland's a different team too.
Okay, I think that this team is much better than it was last year, and I don't see Cleveland being much better than they were last year. So for me, you asked me a question. For me, I'm telling you, I see a better team, and that's why I feel like it's over. And I felt like it was over before it started.
Okay, listen, that's fair. I'm just not gonna go too far into what I've seen after one game. That's me.
Well, so it's got to be over for you, right? What if it's 2-0? What are you gonna say then?
I'm going to make the same thing. Until I see Cleveland go home and lose, the series doesn't start until the home team loses, right? So until I see one of these home team loses, I'm not going to say that it's over.
That is another one. You know what? That's another one of the dumbest statements that anybody ever made.
I don't think it's dumb.
Whoever came up with in their life, and I'll explain that to you on the other side of the break.
Day when I was chilling in Kentucky Fried Chicken, just minding my business, eating food and drink a licking. This dude walked in, looking strange and kind of funny. Went up to the front, a menu and his money. He didn't walk straight, kind of side to side. He asked this old lady, is this Kentucky Fried? The lady said, yeah, smiling, he smiled.
41 minutes after hour, back to the full disclosure show. You guys are 19 minutes away from Mr. Breeze DBL and his fully disclosed mix. Quick question. Best rap group ever? Group. Run DMC?
Most legendary, easy. I'd have to think though.
Okay, fair enough.
But here's the shout out to Breeze DBL for playing a song so appropriate to Mo's. You be illin', y'all. That was right on, Mo. You be illin'.
All right, so before we went to the break, Sewell asked me if they go up 2-0 Golden State, whether or not I think the series is over. No, so Cleveland loses at home. No, I don't think it's over.
So I'm explaining to you why this is the dumbest thing ever, right? Just on its own legs, man. And let me get it out, and don't think I'm crazy for saying this.
You probably are.
If every team just wins their home games, the series never started. It'd be over, but it never started. Come on.
You're being very literal here, right? I mean, I don't think that they were saying it in a literal sense. Okay.
That just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I just don't think that we're being that literal. All right, so we got 18 minutes left, and I got a potpourri of things that I'm going to shoot at you just to get your thoughts.
Whoa. Don't be shooting nothing at me, all right, bro? It's dangerous out here.
No potpourri.
No potpourri at me, bro.
Close up the loop on this Golden State thing. Kind of a fun fact. Rihanna was at the game. Rihanna caused a stir at Game 1. She had Jeff Van Gundy commenting about her on television. But apparently she's a big LeBron James fan. And apparently she calls him the king. She also bowed to him while he was on the court. There's video of her bowing down to him as he's running back to play on defense. Is Rihanna being a savage?
See what you did with that.
That this man is married. And there have been rumors that potentially there's something out there. We're not going to go any deeper into that, but there are rumors that potentially there's something out there. Is she being savage by even doing that, knowing that this man's wife is at this game watching it intently?
Oh, man. No.
Oh, okay. All right. We can move on.
Oh, he's a star, man. He's going to have fans. You know, he's gonna have fans. He's gonna have desirables. And that's the price you pay when you marry into that. That's why I said I could never marry Halle Berry.
But it's Rihanna though, so it's a little different than just Jenny from the block. Well, and I don't mean J-Lo. I don't mean J-Lo.
I was saying, oh, okay.
Mean J-Lo.
Right.
It's a little different. The access is a little bit different. The means is a little bit different.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, right, it's whatever LeBron's going to do or not do.
Agreed, 100%. All right, I just need to throw that out there because I just happened to catch that. All right, here are the things I want to throw at you. Chris Bosh, he and the Miami Heat allegedly have come to an agreement on him ending his career. I think the NBA doctor says that he has a career-ending illness. What this does is now Miami is going to have to pay out his $52 million contract. However, that money is not going to hit their cap, and the majority of it will come from insurance. If Chris Bosh, and he has this right, if he finds a doctor and can prove to the NBA that he does not have a career-ending illness and comes back and another team takes him and he plays 25 games, that money goes back to Miami's cap. All of a sudden, they hit the luxury tax. Two-fold question. If you are Chris Bosh, do you try to come back and play with your injury, with your illness? Two, if you're the Miami Heat, are you calling up your brethren owner saying, listen, you can't take this guy?
That would be kind of the part two of that question could kind of be shaky. But So life is so short and so unpredictable. So I mean, I think would you rather go out the way you want to than even if it was at a shorter time? I mean, you want to live as long as you can, so obviously you do whatever it takes, be it however miserable, however it takes for you to still be breathing. But if it means that much to him, I mean, I can't judge for that, man. But as far as the other teams taking him, I mean, as a team, I wouldn't touch him.
You would not.
No, probably not, because I just wouldn't want it. And let me say this with the limited information I have about his blood clots and what could happen to him. But like, I don't want another Hank Gather situation in the NBA on my floor or under my watch, because I don't even care if one doctor came and said it was okay. And then the conversations that you have to have is these other 20 doctors who looked at him said no. So you went out and found one guy. You had this guy die in your court. What's it do for PR? And he's been out the league for a little bit now. So like, how good is he gonna be? It's not you're getting LeBron. Like, is Chris Bosh going to be, what scenario would it be where Chris Bosh is going to be the difference maker on my squad? And I don't even know what he is. So, no, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Fair enough. We'll watch that and see how that continues to transpire. Staying in the NBA, Kyle Lowry, point guard for the Toronto Raptors, is eligible to opt out of his contract this summer. Dwayne Casey, the coach, along with DeMar DeRozan, met with him last week in California. And another player, Nolan Powell, I think is what his name is. If you are Toronto, are you wanting Kyle Lowry back? And are you looking to max him out, which is what he's going to be looking to get? Do you want to bring Kyle Lowry back to that mix, or are you looking to spend that money somewhere else?
I mean, I think the issue with these teams is that you're in a situation where you gotta hit the floor, eh? So you gotta spend some money somewhere. And for the people who don't know, there's a certain amount of money that each NBA team has to spend, irregardless of how good you are or whatever. Then you gotta go and say, okay, what point guards are out here that are better than Kyle Lowry? Right? If you're trying to get the best players you can on your team, if that's your team philosophy. So I don't know who's out there in free agency who's better than him. I don't think Corey Joseph is as good as him. His backup right now. So I'm not a Kyle Lowry fan, but it's one of these things where, like, if we're hungry and that's all you got to eat, can you put some cheese on it? You know what I mean? I don't know.
So you pay it.
I don't know what it is. Man, I'm saying that without knowing the free agent market. But assuming that some free agent's better than him.
So maybe you don't pay him. You go with Corey Joseph. Figure out how to get to the bottom of your ceiling of the minimum that you have to pay, and you save your money for next year.
Well, I mean, even to get to that point, the point is this. Even when we get there, we're going to be overpaying somebody. We're going to have to overpay some people anyway.
To get to the minimum, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to. Some people.
It's not going to be at that level that you're going to be overpaying Kyle Lowry. You've seen what you have with Kyle Lowry, and you already know that you're not beating LeBron James in the East. You're only hoping that LeBron James twists an ankle or has an injury and can't go forward. Because if Kevin Love gets hurt, LeBron James still beats him. Kyrie Irving gets hurt, LeBron James still probably beats Toronto. It has to be LeBron being the one not playing.
I'm not sure if they believe that.
Well, they're not believing that. They need to listen to this podcast and listen to Maurice. Because Mo is telling them they cannot beat LeBron James in the East.
Who doesn't need to listen to this show and listen to Mo? Who?
Listen, I'm just saying they cannot beat LeBron James in the East. They cannot. They are at least 2 years away, probably 3 to 4 in reality, and hope that Milwaukee doesn't get back. But okay, wanted to put that out there. Next thought, there are rumors out there that the New York Knicks are interested in Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio, the starting point guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Knicks have also been in conversation with the Portland Trailblazers about getting a second number 1 pick in the first round of this year's NBA draft. A second first round pick, I'm sorry, in the NBA draft. I don't know how Ricky Rubio works in New York. I don't know why Phil Jackson's in love with him. But Derrick Rose is going to be free this summer. Ironically enough, the Minnesota Timberwolves are interested in Derrick Rose. So this is a twofold question. You're not going to trade him because Derrick is free. If you're Minnesota, do you just go on and give him Ricky Rubio and say, here and take him? And then you go and put your eggs in grabbing Derrick Rose and putting him on that team?
I'm a team. I'm not taking. What's Derrick Rose going to do? Go over there and start?
What else is he going to do?
I don't take him.
He's not a starter in the NBA anymore?
I don't know if he's a reliable starter. He gets hurt every year.
Who doesn't get hurt every year outside of LeBron? Let's just be honest. Who doesn't get hurt outside of LeBron every year?
Dude, it's a ton of players that's not tearing ligaments every year. I'm not talking about twisting the ankle or getting a bone bruise. I'm talking about this dude's having surgery every year. I mean, I know you ride for Derrick Rose, but you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say he get hurt every year. Not somebody that twists the ankle and is out for a week. This dude goes under the knife every season. You still hold him as a reliable. So wait, give him 4 years, $80 million with a dude that's had surgeries the last 4 years? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? No, I'm not taking that dude. You just keep dumping money in it. Every year he's having surgery. Every single year. And you know when you have surgery, you get a little worse and a little worse and a little worse usually, right? Especially from tears. Take it from a dude who tore his knee 4 times. He get a little worse every time. So you're still taking this guy. You're thinking about 2011 MVP Derrick Rose. That's about 5 surgeries ago.
Not enough. I'm thinking that Derrick Rose is an upgrade over Ricky Rubio. And on that team, I think, don't say why, he is an upgrade over Ricky Rubio. And I'm thinking that he helps that team.
Nope, I'm over here saying, you know what? Is Chris Dunn going to come into his own over here?
Right? No, not. It's not point guard, in my opinion.
Okay, it's between Chris Dunn, me personally, I probably would have had Zach in that backcourt.
Agreed.
So between Chris Dunn and Zach, can I figure this out? Yeah, they Derrick Rose. They $80 million. Can I use this $80 million for somebody else that I'm gonna have to give Derrick Rose? You gotta be kidding me! If you think I'm Minnesota, I'm trying to pony up $80 grand for the $6 million boy over there. Not doing that.
Okay. All right. Next thing, Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley, former NBA player, and obviously his last claim to fame is his fight at Madison Square Garden with security. Well, they offered Charles Oakley a plea deal. Essentially, they would have dropped the charges as long as he did not get in any trouble over the next 6 months. Charles Oakley rejected the plea deal and says he wants to go to trial. And he'll take whatever punishment comes to him for that. So trial is scheduled for August the 4th. Thoughts?
I'm never going to knock a man who thinks he's innocent for not wanting to say that he's guilty. So if he thinks he's innocent.
Not saying he's guilty. Not saying he's guilty.
No. I'm saying I never knock a man who won't take a plea deal because he believes that he's innocent. I don't want to have any of this on my record.
The charges will be dropped.
I don't know all the details, or maybe he wants somebody else to pay. Maybe in his mind, there's somebody else who did something. I don't know.
What was he to plead to?
It didn't say that he was pleading. They called it a plea deal, but it didn't say that he was pleading to anything. They just said that the charges will be dropped as long as he was not getting any trouble over the next 6 months.
Well, that's what I said when you said plea. That's why I was like.
They called it a plea. They did.
I'm saying I don't know the details. He must be pleading to something. And he like, I'm not pleading to that.
Okay. Little NFL. We got a couple things. We still got about 4 minutes. Dez Bryant wants to return punt. He returned punt this first year in the NFL, and then they got rid of it. You're the Dallas Cowboys. Do you let him?
It would have to be very situational, not regularly. But the Giants do it with Odell Beckham in situations. So very situationally, yeah, but not regularly. And he has to be very smart about it, right? So I don't know if Dez Bryant is that dynamic of a player.
Agreed.
So I mean, I think Odell's a little more dynamic as a player. So from that perspective, I don't get the upside. But if he was a more dynamic player, I would let him do a situation, but not as a regular punt returner.
I'm not a fan of this at all. I pray that they don't let it happen. They already have Lucky Whitehead back there. Rather have him returning the punts instead of Dez Bryant. As you said, I don't think he's that kind of an athlete anyway. He's not Odell Beckham. So, speaking of Odell Beckham has not been in OTAs, and these are voluntary. However, he's been catching flack from the media. Allegedly, his coach is not happy, Ben McAdoo, and allegedly Eli Manning is not necessarily happy. Is this a big deal?
It may be, but don't make it voluntary.
So allegedly, the reason that these are voluntary is because during their collective bargaining agreement, the players were asking for more money of some kind of money, some kind of way, some more compensation, and they said no. But what we'll do to compensate that is make these OTAs voluntary. So now the NFL, you can't be a team and be mad at a guy for voluntary that they collectively bargained. You can't be mad at him, but allegedly they are not happy.
You can't. Hey, football season is grueling and long, man. He's working out. My concern would be, is he working out? And if he's working out,
yes, he's working out with Chris Carter actually, and some other people.
Right, so we know that he's working out. I'm fine with it. I mean, if he was at the club, but again, even that. You gave somebody a job description. As long as he completes his job description, well, I mean, what else do you want?
Richard Sherman. Rumors out there that he's salty with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. He's still upset over the Super Bowl from 3 years ago where Russell Wilson threw the interception because Pete Carroll called the pass as opposed to giving it to Beats Mode. Is there a fracture in that locker room?
I mean, this Richard Sherman stuff it seems to be festering around, so it must be some truth to it. But Pete allows these guys to have their personalities, so this is who they are. And again, my concern in any locker room I've ever been, I really don't care what you're doing outside this. I don't care what you're doing, man. When we get on that court, you ready to go? I don't care. You leave this locker room, you go do whatever you want to do. I'm going this way. So the loss doesn't affect their game, but I think they've taken a step back. And so, winning helps a lot. And now when you're not winning, every little thing comes up. But that's normal.
That's fair. And I know we're almost at, next week. So put this in your mind, probably do it. Just kind of refresh yourself, because I know you've been probably paying attention as you are a 49er fan. We got to discuss this Colin Kaepernick thing and whether he's being blackballed and, the whole situation going on around him. We have to discuss it. I have some thoughts that I want to put out there, but we definitely have to properly give that a 15-minute segment.
All right, please. Hey, listen. You're the skipper. I'm Gilligan. I'm looking for Marianne. You driving this shit, baby. I don't know what to tell you. Thurston Howell III, you ready over there for an hour? For the fully disclosed hour?
Yeah, man. I'm just looking at some of these responses people are giving us relative to what we're commenting about. So, yeah, we're good, man.
Reese DBL, a.k.a. Thurston Howell III.
I will hook you up.
Yes, ready for you. Hey, stop looking at Marianne.
Ginger, baby.
You are now listening to the Breeze DB Operators Calls Mix.
People should take their time in relationships. We can end the war of the heart if we try patience. For your love, I wait for the rest of my life. Time will be my friend, both day and night. I am eager to spend some time with you. Yeah, I won't even come around if you tell me to. Life, love, in mine. Yeah, don't rush your feelings. Take your time. Yeah, yeah. I've got nothing better. I'll be right here. Long as the water's blue, yes, no man. For you, I will wait. Love is our faith. In my love, you relax. Even baby, I will. Take your time. I'll always be there. Yeah. Look at our days in the past, baby. I'll never rush your days. Just go steady. I'll be right there. Think about it, baby. I'm committed, for the rest of my life. My mind is made up, yeah. If I had to walk around the world, be by your side, you can hide me away, throw away the key. Just to have one word deep in your eyes. If I had to wait on the year 2025, I'll wait. Hey, if I had to wait in the sun, never in the rain, I will. Hey, if I had to wait in the fire, feeling all the pain, I will. Is it possible that you could be mine? Stronger, you're making me stronger, making me better, so much better. My inspiration, how can I live without you? Now my whole world circles around you. You are, you are, you are. Welcome to a new world, a new love, a new life. Welcome to a new world, a new love, a new life. Welcome to a new world, a new love, a new life. In your joy I live, in the comfort of your life brings. Wanna feel your love forever, forever. Unstoppable, this love for a long time. Longer, for longer. Need you, oh I need you in this world. Everything's good around me. Now my whole world circles around. You are, you are, you are. Welcome to a new world, new love, new life. Welcome to a new world, new love, new life. Welcome to a new world, new love, new life. You are, you love, you life. Welcome to a new world.
Yeah. DIY project. While jamming to the music, I appreciate that.
It's sir.
That's finished at 12:57, right on time. There we go. Everybody get ready for the game tonight. Enjoy tonight. Watch these Warriors go up 2-0 tonight. I know. Everybody wants to root for Kyrie. Thank God his mouth was full over there. He can't say anything.
Well, I was on mute. I was just listening.
All right, everybody be safe out there.
Yeah, peace. Big peace, y'all.